Enjoy the day.
You too. 412-928-9370. I mean, those guys have been, really good. I think Ryan Shea being back into the lineup has been really good for them. They brought in Parker Wotherspoon, who's been good for them. Brazeau and Mantha so far have been very good. These are all things that they did in the offseason that went totally under the radar, and yet the results have been pretty good for Kyle Dubas right now, and Dan Muse, who I give a lot of credit to because he's not afraid to put guys in. And maybe it's, he's in a way playing with house money. The expectations were low. He can do what he wants because the expectations were low. Everything knows when expectations get risen and they are up higher, all of a sudden, you're more responsible for stuff. So good start for them. We'll see how it goes today. Winnipeg is a very good team, and they certainly have Stanley Cup aspirations out there. And then I believe it's Toronto on Monday night, and the Leafs are in the same boat. Big Eastern Conference matchup. All right, we're going to take a break here, Joel, if that's okay, and come back, and then we'll round out this show, take more calls if we can get them at 412-928-9370. And then it's Johnny Patrician. Johnny P will be here. We're talking about Pitt and Stanford in our preview of this game coming up today, 3:30 on 93.7 The Fan. I'm Bob Pompiani, live at Shaler for the Youth Showcase of football. And it's a big day for all these young kids who are out here playing today. We'll be back with more right after this on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. You can catch up on the latest Pittsburgh sports news anytime. Just tell your smart device to play Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
93.7 The Fan from Odyssey.
Pittsburgh sports, smart and able. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Now, fan headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Game 7 of the World Series is tonight at 8 o'clock between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. Pitt football in action today at 3:30 at Stanford. It's right here on The Fan and on your free Odyssey app with coverage beginning at 12:30. Penguins also in action today, taking on Winnipeg at 3. For more, get to 937thefan.com. Fan headlines are powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
The Allegheny County Jail is hiring correctional officers and healthcare professionals now. Get a competitive salary, healthcare, and a pension. Ready to make a difference? Apply today at joinacj.com.
Hi, everyone. This is Bob Pompiani. Let's count the ways that number one Cochrane Kia delivers a clearly better car buying experience. First, they have a huge selection with hundreds of new Kia models in stock. From the Forte and Sportage to the Telluride and Carnival, there's a vehicle for every lifestyle. Second, number one Cochrane's clear-cut pricing structure gives you the absolute best price up front. This simplifies the buying process and makes for an enjoyable, stress-free experience. Third, their exceptional lease and APR financing rates are designed for maximum pricing power during the Kia Fall Savings Event. Clearly, better car buying. It's transparent. It's hassle-free. It's a number one Cochrane Kia exclusive. Test drive today at their location on Campbell's Run Road in Robinson or shop online at CochraneKia.com.
The Neophis Insurance Group has proudly partnered with Nationwide Insurance for more than 60 years. The team at the Neophis Insurance Group knows that finding the right protection for you and your family's needs is important. That's why they partnered with Nationwide, offering protection for you, your family, your business, and your future. Call the Neophis Insurance Group at 412-364-3388 for an on-your-side review. That's 412-364-3388 or online at neophisinsurance.com. That's Neofes Insurance.com.
At Bucko's Roofing, we're on top of it. Whether it's siding, roofing, windows, gutters, or insurance claims, you can count on Bucko's for quality customer service. Find us online and get a free quote today.
It's Pittsburgh's #1 roofing company.
Bucko's Roofing.
Here's Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan's Fan About Town. Looking for an incredible Pittsburgh fresh-made hoagie? Visit Tim's Corner Market in Beachview. Fresh, house-made bread stacked high with the finest meats and premium toppings and packed with Pittsburgh flavor. The hoagie you didn't know you needed at Tim's Corner Market on Broadway Avenue in Beachview. The Panthers are back on the field, and Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan is your home for all the action. From pregame to postgame, coverage on The Fan is brought to you by Cranberry Dental Studio, Klein, Keppel, and Kuriak, Food for Thought, Nick Chevrolet, Hellman Electric, and NSS Light. At Giant Eagle, they're here because being part of the neighborhood matters. Because what we pick up at the store is what we bring into our lives. At Giant Eagle, they're always going for better to bring you the best because it matters. For more information, visit 937thefan.com.
Morning, Zoe. Got donuts.
Jeff Bridges, why are you still living above our garage?
Well, I dig the mattress, and I want to be in a T-Mobile commercial like you. Teach me, Saldana.
Oh, no, I'm not really prepared. I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro. On them, it's designed to be the most powerful iPhone yet and has the ultimate pro camera system.
Wow, impressive. Let me try. T-Mobile is the best place to get iPhone 17 Pro because they've got the best network.
Nice, Jeffrey.
You heard them. T-Mobile is the best place to get the new iPhone 17 Pro on us with eligible trade-in in any condition.
So, what are we having for lunch?
Dude, my work here is done.
The 24 monthly bill credits on experience beyond for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits ended, balance due if you pay off earlier or cancel. Finance agreement iPhone 17 Pro, 256 gigs, $1,099.99. A new line minimum $100 plus a month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data 1H2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
When you hire our firm, you become part of the family. Nobody messes with family. Get the good guys, Goodrich and Geist.
NBA tipping off, and FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge is your home for live betting. So even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Man, I was watching the Lakers and their opener, and without LeBron, it's Luka, and more Luka. They're the Los Angeles Lukas. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join because FanDuel has given new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/Starkey to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/Starkey. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Every Wednesday, 93.7 The Fan gives you an inside look from a former general manager with Wednesday with Whaley.
Hey, we're playing to win the game.
Doug Whaley joins the Fan Morning Show from 9 to 10 to give his insight from the front office perspective. Wednesdays with Whaley. Doug Whaley is brought to you by Tri-State Office Furniture, Morgan & Morgan Law Firm, Allegiant Community Federal Credit Union, and Bet365. Now back to more.
Please, Seth.
This is the Bob Pompiani Show.
Let's go.
On Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan, Pittsburgh's hometown sports station.
All right, welcome back. We continue live right here in Shaler Youth Football Classic, the showcase. A lot of stuff going on here with Pine Richland. We had the North Hills Youth here. We have Mars. And it's a beautiful day for these kids to have their time in the sun, and the cheerleaders as well. Tons of them here. Getting ready for the second game of 3 today. 412-928-9370. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Johnny, Patricia, and I will talk about Pitt and Stanford, but we believe Kevin is in Las Vegas or is from Vegas. Kevin, are you at Palo Alto today?
I am. I'm getting ready to leave the hotel in Mountain View and go up here in about an hour so I can drop my bag off. They got a bag hold if you're going to the airport right after the game because I got to head back to Vegas. I got work tomorrow.
Okay, well, you're there for a reason. What's your reason for being there?
Well, I'm there to watch Pitt beat up on Stanford and continue their march towards the playoffs. Hey, you brought it up earlier. It's simple. Pitt wins out. Pitt's in not just the AC championship game. They win the AC championship game. They're in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
There's no way the committee's leaving a team out that lost 2 games early, replaced their quarterback, and has won every game since, including their conference championship. Now, that being said, they're in this position because Pat waited a game too long to pull his trigger. He should have pulled the trigger after the West Virginia game, like you were saying. But it's all right in front of him because Louisville's going to lose a game before the end of the season, probably at SMU in a couple of weeks, or maybe even this week against California at home. And the same thing with, I just forgot the other. Virginia's going to lose 1 of their 3 games. So Pitt has it in front of them. If they don't get there, it's on them again. So I don't care if they're not ranked right now. I don't care if they're not ranked for the next 5 weeks. If they win out, they're in the championship game, and then they're in the playoffs. Hey, real quick on the Penguins. Everybody wants to continue to keep bringing things up on Jari. When it's amazing how good the kid plays when there's consistent defense being played in front of him, and he only has to occasionally or for a period make a bunch of great saves. And the biggest difference this year is Letang is playing disciplined hockey for the first time in 5 or 6 years. I know, but you know what? we knew Eric was undisciplined when we traded for him. So I don't throw as much shade on Eric for playing undisciplined the last few years as I do Letang, because he's been here forever. So that being said, by the way, last thing, Tony brought up that he doesn't think that it's appropriate for a championship coach to be, chanted as far as being fired. He won a championship nearly 17 years ago with the other guy's team and culture, and it's been a steady downward trend since then. He's earned the chance if they come. I don't think they'll come, but if they come, he's earned the chance.
Kevin, thanks. I appreciate the call from Vegas, now in Stanford. So hopefully you'll see a win today, and if so, that sets up they have a very good time for a bye week. Man, you couldn't ask for a better bye week if you're Pitt. After this game, if they win, and then they have Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami coming up. And, boy, they'll be rested, and they should be ready to go for that game. Thank you, Kevin. Let's move along to Jim in Mount Lebanon, who joins us right now on the Bob Pompiani Show. Hey, Jim, what's up?
Hey, Bob, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I had a question for you. I read something this morning that there are people that want to eliminate the intentional walk in baseball. And
what do you mean? They've already done that. You mean eliminate it altogether from the game? In other words, you can't do it.
Correct.
I thought you meant because they don't even bother. If you want to walk, they just put you on. They don't have to make 4 pitches, which I always thought was stupid anyway.
Right. And I read an article this morning, though, that we should do away with that as well because we're taking the bat out of people's hands like Ohtani. And I completely disagree with that, but I wondered what your thoughts were.
I think it's been a part of baseball for a long time. I'm glad they do it the way they do it now, but that's strategy. We've seen it for years where guys who are really good at what they do, like Barry Bonds, you're taking a bat out of their hands, but that's part of the strategy. You're also putting it in the hands of another person, and if that person comes up with a hit, that strategy backfires. I love baseball mostly because I love strategy. I was one of those at the very beginning of this who did not want to see designated hitter come to the National League, but I have warmed up to that now more than ever probably, but to me, you make a choice there. And if you're going to continue to put Ohtani on, you may pay the price because they have a pretty good guy behind him in Betts and Freeman. And it's amazing to me that they've been so willing to do it. But they have. Barry Bonds in the day, right? Jim, you remember this. They walked him with the bases loaded. They forced in a run just to make sure they didn't get any more damage.
Right. No, I absolutely agree with you. I just wondered what your thoughts were. And I would hate to see them eliminate that strategical move that people can make.
Yeah, we'll see what happens today. Got a feeling about Game 7?
Toronto.
Oh, okay. Coming back, and we'll see. Ohtani's on the mound for, I don't know how long he'll pitch because he's going on 3 days rest, I guess. That'll be interesting to see. And, boy, if Toronto doesn't win, oh, my goodness, that ball that gets stuck under the left field fence, right? If that ball doesn't get stuck, they have a run and probably a guy on third.
Right, and it completely changed the game. But, as they say, that's the way the ball bounces or whatever. But I think Toronto's going to get it. And I hope so because, as a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates, until we get a floor or a cap as far as the salary, I just don't want to see Los Angeles and New York win it every year.
Yep. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. Well, I talked to Clint Hurdle this week, and he's all for a floor minimum, and we may see that if things become, difficult with these two sides, the players and the owners at the end of next year, and it could end up being a work stoppage. If it takes that to get that into the game, I'm all for it. Let's go one more call. We go to Beaver Falls here. We have Sabu. What's going on, Sabu?
How you doing, Bob?
Good. What's up?
Yeah, I was just talking about Pitt's season. I'm rooting for them, and hopefully they win out, get in. But they definitely have a lot of work ahead of them. They got, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Miami. I think the Georgia Tech game, that's the one where they may have some problems down there. I think they're going to have issues stopping that King. That may be the game there.
Yeah, well, that's going to be the game, quite frankly, in my view. The road game at a place where I don't think they played all that well, and that team is still undefeated. Although, Miami's certainly capable at the end. But those two games being at home, Notre Dame, Miami, should help Pitt, I think. And even without Notre Dame in the conversation, if they win today and win the next two after that, they will have a spot in the ACC championship game, right? And then we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, right. And hey, let me ask you one quick question. Do you think they're like one stud defensive lineman away, Pitt? Like it just seems like there's something missing there on defense.
They've had some injuries, but I also think that sometimes Pat Narduzzi needs to adjust how he plays defense later in games. He's a big press coverage man-on-man, and I like that to a certain extent. But when you have leads, sometimes you can get burned by playing that kind of football, and that's just a generalization of what he does. But they've recruited well. I'll give them a lot of credit. They've also developed guys very well. Most of these guys that you see, for example, Heinzel I don't think anyone really gave him an opportunity to be a scholarship guy. I don't know how many offers he got, but he was here. Nobody even talked about him, and whatever reason he's developed, or some people missed his talent, which was, when you watch him play, you wonder how that could happen. So I think overall they've done a good job recruiting and bringing in, developing guys.
Yep. All right, Bob. Well, thanks a lot. Have a good day.
All right, Taboo. Thank you. Appreciate the call. And that's going to wrap it up. I just want to, again, talk about tomorrow. We got the game on KDK. Pregame with the Steelers and Colts begins at 11:30 a.m. Charlie Batch and I will get you set for that at the FedEx Great Hall over at Acrisure Stadium. And then tonight, preceding that, it's Alumni Weekend. Can you believe how fast this has gone? 20th anniversary of the 2005 Super Bowl 40 at Detroit. We have a big dinner tonight. I'm honored to be the MC of that dinner. We have just about everyone coming in for that one, Bill Cowher included, and then he'll go to Buffalo to do his NFL Today job tomorrow, and I wonder if he's going to go through a table again like he did the last time there. That Bills Mafia is very influential. They'll make him do some stuff there. And I give him credit. He's 60, whatever he is. He's older than me a little bit, I think, 65, 66. I'm 65, and he's going through those tables. We'll see if that happens again. Aaron Smith in town, Faneca, Ferrier, Ben Roethlisberger will be there, Jerome Bettis, Joey Porter, Dick LeBeau coming back. Should be a great night at the UPMC Club over at Acrisure Stadium. So that's going to wrap it up. Coming up next, thanks to Seth and the boys out here to get it done. Thanks to Joel Nelson. It's Pitt Panther Preview Show as we talk about Pitt and Stanford. That's coming up 3:30 this afternoon on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. We'll get you set for it all coming up next right here on 93.7 The Fan. By the way, before I go, I got to give you the weather because if I don't do that, then it may change, and I don't want it to change, quite frankly, because the weather is good right now, and you want that to continue. So Fan Weather is brought to you by Myers Law Group, Pittsburgh's choice for affordable legal solutions. If you look out your window, you'll see what kind of weather it is. It's beautiful outside. It's typical crisp fall day. Temperatures in the 50s. It should be that way tomorrow as well. Have a great day. JP and I are back right after this on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Don't miss the Panthers Insider Show every Saturday morning from 8 to 9 with Pat Bostic. The best insight with the top guests and everything you need to know about Pitt. The Panther Insider Show is brought to you by Voss TV and Appliance, Von Kepler-Koriak, Cranberry Dental Studio, PJ Dick Trommel and Lindy Group, PGT Truck, NSS Live, Lot 17 Bloomfield, and Feeney Insurance Agency. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in Pittsburgh. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
If you're hosting a Halloween party, then make a potion with on-sale spirits from Fine Wine and Good Spirits. Batch a monstrous Manhattan with Jim Beam Devil's Cut Straight Bourbon, conjuring notes of deep oak and vanilla. Or stir up a Speak of the Devil using Ghost Tequila Blanco and a bite of juicy raspberry liqueur. Just grab a bottle, the ice, shake, and poof, the perfect potion. Shop Wickedly Good Spirits in-store or online at FWGS.com. Both bottles 750 milliliter. Offers in November 2nd, 2025. Please enjoy responsibly.
Since 1969, a quick drain service has been going down the drain so you don't have to. Proudly serving the tri-state area, they're your go-to experts for DOT certified gas, water, and sewer line installations from plumbing to sewer and drain cleaning. They do it all. Fast, professional, and reliable. Emergency service available 24/7. Lifetime guarantee on water and sewer lines. Senior and military discounts available. Go to quickdrain.com. A quick drain service, PA number 074216.
For all station contest rules, go to 937thefan.com/rules.
Live from the Shorkey Mitsubishi.com studios, North Huntington and North Hills. Get you ready for today's game with the Pitt Panther Preview Show. The Pitt Panther Preview Show is brought to you by Bellman Electric, Hampton Beer Outlet, Cranberry Dental Studio, Leon's Billiards and More, the Feeney Insurance Agency, Food for Thought Deli, Voss TV and Appliances, NSS Life, Klein Keppel and Koriak, Saloni's Italian Bread, Nova Place Parking, Lot 17 Bloomfield, and Nick Chevrolet. The Panther Preview Show is on the Pitt Radio Network.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Pitt Panther Preview Show. Bob Pompiani, Johnny Patrician with you. JP is here as we get set for what should be a very big game, and one the Pitt Panthers cannot stumble on. It's Pitt and Stanford coming up. The Cardinal just coming off a 42-7 loss at the hands of Miami, and they are struggling. They're without their top runner. Pitt, on the other hand, is flying high with 4 straight wins against Boston College, Florida State, Syracuse, and NC State. And quite frankly, they control their own destiny. We welcome in JP, Johnny Patrician, and I think that's the best thing you could have as a football team when you know you control your own destiny.
Especially in November, Pomp. It's November 1 today, and what more can you ask for? Pitt is playing meaningful games in November. Everything in front of them they could have asked for and hoped for. They had a couple hiccups earlier in the year, and people were getting off the train. But now it's time to get back on because they control their own destiny, like you said, so this will be an exciting month.
It really will. And before we get any further into this broadcast, I want to remind you that the fan text line is brought to you always by Edgar Snyder and Associates, a personal injury law firm where they always say there's never a fee unless they get money for you. And fan Twitter is brought to you by South Hills Kia in Peters Township. Visit them at southhillskia.net. We have a lot to get into today, but first let's go back and look at that game last week against NC State. It resulted in 2 players getting ACC Players of the Week, and that would be Mason Heinchel and Kenny Johnson. One takes care of the other. Is it the quarterback? Is it the receiver? In this case, I think it's both. They have a great relationship there, and we saw that at play. 53 points against NC State. They have been scoring crazy a number of points here, Johnny, ever since Heinchel got into this game. Yeah, averaging 38 points a game, I believe. And, a couple times they've, gone over that, obviously. Last week it was a shootout, and there was a point in that game, Pomp, where, I think it was 24-21. Pitt had the ball in NC State territory on 3rd down. I want to say it was 3rd and 8. And Heinchel scrambles and throws it to Kenny Johnson down the right sideline. And if they don't complete that pass, then NC State gets the ball back and has a chance to take the lead there. And, obviously it went the better way for us Pitt fans where that's not what happened. Heinchel scrambled and completed that pass, and the rest is history. And then they put the icing on the cake after that. So, I'm really proud of the fact that Pitt was able to close that game out because they've had trouble earlier this year with fourth-quarter leads, a la West Virginia, a la Louisville. So, that's a sign of growth for Mason Heinchel, and he's growing up right before our own eyes. By the Numbers is presented by Klein, Keppel & Koriak, a certified public accounting and business advisory firm. And talking about Mason Heinchel, the true freshman, 28 pass completions for 423 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's impressive by itself, but it's only his 4th career start, and he became the first ACC freshman in 30 years and the only Power 4 freshman this year to throw for 400 yards and 3 scores in a game. And by the way, the 423 last week, 9th most in college football this season and 2nd most by an ACC quarterback. You talk about just jumping into a situation and owning it. He's owned it ever since he's been there. His life has changed almost overnight, it seems like. Now he's probably almost a household name in Western Pennsylvania here. And, 3 months ago, or 2 months ago, rather, unless you were a diehard Pitt fan, you probably did not know who he was, unless you follow recruiting, because really he was 3rd on the depth chart a month ago. And so, and chances of getting in the game, they brought in Marco Gonzalez, who was handpicked by Cade Bell, basically. Yeah. So you thought, if there was going to be a change, who would it be? Not many people saw this. Exactly. And Heinchel wasn't a big recruit. If he was a 5-star, 4-star, we had to beat out other Power 4 teams to get him, then you'd have a better chance of people knowing his name as a recruit. But, he wasn't a big recruit. Had, mostly MAC offers, Division I AA offers. And Pitt took a chance on him, which is what Pat Narduzzi does best, is he finds diamonds in the rough
and, he develops them. And, in this case, he didn't really have to develop Mason Heinschel that much. He didn't have much time to. But he's getting better every week. And, I feel like we keep saying every week we're expecting these bumps in the road, growing pains, if you will, for a young quarterback. But he hasn't given us many of those. So I hope I don't jinx him today by saying that.
And the fact that he's a true freshman also makes this a more interesting story. And I think one that has not been told nationally so far, but it will as time goes on. I want to also ask you about not just him, but they've used other young people, redshirt freshmen, at times walk-ons, guys who don't have a lot of experience, but they've trusted them to get in. And given some of the injuries they've had, especially a linebacker, those guys have stepped up.
Yeah, they have stepped up. To talk about Heinschel again, I saw it came out this week, CBS quarterback power rankings in the country, and Heinschel was number 1.
Well, I thought that was a little bit much.
Yeah, me too.
Number
Me
1
too.
after 4 games, but I mean, if you look at his 4 games,
yeah, a small sample size, but it can't get much better of a sample than that. But to your point about next man up mentality, that's what Coach Narduzzi lives by, and he has an eye for talent. He sees these guys every day at practice, and I think he really focuses on development, like I said, but getting guys who are not first teamers reps, valuable reps in practice, throwing guys in situations where they're prepared when that moment does come. Guys like Nick Lappy, who I talked about last week, a walk-on who was on the team when I was there. He prepares like he's starting every week. And the coaches, what a great coaching job this year so far. I mean, why aren't people talking about Pat Narduzzi as ACC Coach of the Year yet? Well,
if this keeps up, they will.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, the coaching job.
What were they picked preseason? Because it was not I don't know. They were in the top 5.
No, they weren't. No.
So
no, it was. I think it was double digits. 11th. It was 9th, something like that. Yeah, it was not in the top 5. Nobody had high expectations nationally wise. Nobody had high expectations for Pitt this year. I think locally we did, but. Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. Pat Narduzzi for ACC Coach of the Year this year. Not many coaches would take the reins off of Eli Holstein, a quarterback who you paid a ton of NIL money to, a guy returning, 4-star recruit, Alabama transfer. I mean, on paper, that's your guy. And for him to push the button to go to the Mason Heinschel and hand the keys of really Narduzzi's future and the program to a true freshman, oh my gosh, the fortitude and confidence that takes to do that, wow. Credit to him.
Absolutely credit to him. And if you look at this team, and again, we're at a time when you never know if all these guys are going to stay together. In the past, they would have. Now, you never know. But if they do come back, and Heinschel's just a freshman, you also have behind Des Reed, who's obviously the star of that offense when he gets going. He's listed as a running back. He's more of a wide receiver, a hybrid guy. But Jules Goff and Turner, they're 2 freshmen as well, and they've been getting ample playing time. Kenny Johnson, just a junior. They have guys who are going to return, you would think. And if they do, I mean, it sets up for a very good season beyond this season.
Yeah, it does. And we briefly talked about Turner last week, and I spoke more on Jules Goff, but they are different style running backs, kind of like thunder and lightning, if you will. Boozy Turner, I like that kid a lot, and he really stood out to me in the Florida State game, and a lot in Des Reed's absence the past couple of weeks. But he's exciting as well. They got these young guys, man, and they never have a highly ranked recruiting class. But, it's full of 3-stars. It's full of guys that the other big programs don't want. They get all the Florida guys that Florida State, and Miami don't want. And we take them and turn them into household names. Turner, Jules Goff, and Des Reed, that's quite a loaded backfield. And it seems like it's year in and year out. You just churn them out. You don't rebuild, you reload.
And another freshman, we don't often talk about special teams, but we should because Troy Bukowski has been outstanding. He's only a freshman. He's the place kicker. They've done a very good job. Again, doesn't get a lot of attention. The only way they get attention is if they miss.
Right.
And we haven't talked a lot about him, which is a good thing.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, long snapper, punter, and kicker, you don't get your name noticed unless you're messing up for the most part. And I think that is a huge point that people aren't talking about because we lost Ben Sauls, and Ben Sauls is probably the greatest kicker in Pitt history. And you take those guys for granted until they're not there anymore. And Trey Bukowski has made it seamless, honestly, with Sauls leaving, and he's filled in really nicely.
Today it's Pitt and Stanford. Stanford is 2-3 in the ACC. We will talk more about them when we come back. But their most recent games have been a win against Florida State, which a lot of people are doing these days. And at the beginning of the year, you didn't think that was possible. How they started against Alabama, that's how quickly things changed.
Mollywopped.
Mollywopped. And then you have Miami. They played last week down there, and Miami got throttled at 42-7. When we come back, we'll talk about Stanford, the problems Pitt will face today, and maybe the biggest is not overlooking a team that they should be beating.
Yeah, and that's very important. But real quick, I want to give a happy birthday shout-out to a friend of the program, Theo. It's his 5th birthday today. Big Pitt football fan and a big fan of you as well, Pomp.
Wow, he must be a big fan of you as well. I'm only here as a caddy. You're the star of the show. But, Theo, happy birthday to you. And only 5 years old, a big sports fan already. That's what I like to see, guys who get involved, little kids involved in sports. And that's what we're seeing here today with the Youth Football Showcase at Shaler Area High School. And these kids have been out here all day, different grade. You have an 8 and up, 10 and up, 12 and up. And they're all competing hard, all having a good time. Lots of cheerleaders here. So these are very good programs at Mars and Pine Richland, and they're only going to get bigger and better because of the influx of talent, and they all start at a young age. All right, 412-928-9370. That's always our number here. Again, we'll come back and talk about Stanford, the Cardinal, what they're up to, 3-5 overall, 2-3 in the ACC. We're just getting started here. Coming up at 1:30, it's the Network pregame show as Pitt and Stanford. We'll kick it off today at 3:30 right here on your home for Panther Sports. It's Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Pony and Muller here. Mike and Mike's Beer Bar is a big fan of us. In fact, he gave us our own beer. Okay, well, kind of. Each month, Mike picks a local beer that we call the Fan Beer of the Month. Mike's Fan Beer of the Month for November is Jackworth Hard Ginger Beer. And the charity sales will benefit the National Alliance on Mental Illness.
And if you don't like the Fan Beer of the Month, or you just don't like us, Mike has 4 other beers on tap that you can select, and he will make a donation to the charity. Check out the Fan Beer of the Month at Mike's Beer Bar.
Meet me at Mike's.
Now, Fan Headlines, powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
You can catch Pitt and Stanford on the free Odyssey app and on 93.7 The Fan. Kickoff is 3:30. Penguins also in action this afternoon at 3. For more, go to 937thefan.com. Fan Headlines are powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Hi, friend. Lanny Fratteri for Klein, Keppel & Koriak, a full-service certified public accounting and business advisory firm practicing for over 40 years. If you need forward-thinking advice due to today's economic uncertainties and challenges, the experienced professionals at Klein, Keppel & Koriak can provide that guidance. For a consultation, call 412-281-1901 or visit 3kcpa.com. Work with the experts at Klein, Keppel & Koriak because your business is your future.
Hey everyone, it's Doran Dickerson. Do you want to feel more confident when you smile? People give me compliments all the time about my smile. It's been 2 years since my smile makeover, and my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner. For my veneer treatment, I only trusted the best cosmetic dentist in Pittsburgh. Doctors Brian and Rob Claich of Cranberry Dental Studio, and my experience was incredible. Request a free virtual consultation by visiting cranberrydentalstudio.com or check out their award-winning smile makeovers on their Instagram at Cranberry Dental Studio.
Voss TV and Appliance is my game plan for quality appliance and exceptional service. Pat Bostic here for my friends at Voss TV and Appliance, a trusted third-generation family-owned business. Voss carries many big-name television and appliance brands and provides helpful and honest guidance on product selection. Voss also has the best prices and most reliable service in the area. Get Voss TV and Appliance on your team today. Call 412-650-VOSS. That's 412-650-VOSS or visit VossTV.com.
Leon's Billiards and More in Wexford is the Tri-State's premier billiards and game room showcase. Hi, I'm Mike Leon, and for over 40 years we've delivered on our guarantee to provide the best quality, selection, price, and service when it comes to customers' game room needs. From our luxurious pool tables and accessories to our shuffleboards, bar stools, game room furniture, and more, Leon's has everything you need. Come see us nearby on Route 19 in Wexford or visit us online at leonsbilliards.com.
Headed to the game? Start your day or end your night at Lot 17 in Bloomfield. Lot 17 proudly serving great burgers, salads, sandwiches, and wings to the blue and gold faithful for 25 years. Whether you're pre-gaming with buddies, meeting new friends while watching the game on TV, or celebrating a win post-game, Lot 17 is your go-to spot. Kitchen open every night until 10 p.m. Just minutes from the action. Park it at the lot. Lot 17 in Bloomfield. Check us out at lot17pgh.com.
Why wait weeks or
or even months to service your vehicle. Introducing Car Care Express at Mike Hamlin Hyundai in Greensburg. Servicing almost every make and model. No appointment necessary. Come in today. Is your check engine light on? Come in today. Oil changes, brake and tire service, filters, fans, belts, fluids, you name it. Our technicians are ready to service your vehicle today. Plus, new Hyundai owners receive complimentary maintenance. No appointment necessary. No phone call needed. Service your vehicle today with Car Care Express at Mike Hamlin Hyundai in Greensburg.
If you're considering functional medicine, there's only one Steel City Medical Center. We specialize in bioidentical hormones for women, testosterone replacement, peptides, medical weight loss, and medical weight loss done the right way. Our highly educated, experienced medical team is here for you. If experience and results matter, there's only one Steel City Medical Center, serving the greater Pittsburgh market for 10 years with a 5-star rating. Steel City Medical Center.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-848-2299. 800-848-2299. Again, that's 800-848-2299.
There's electricity in the crowd, but when you have electrical problems, you need a family-owned business you can trust. Call Pellman Electric. Pellman Electric has been in business for over 25 years, and their qualified electricians can handle any project. Residential or commercial, outlet repairs in your house, to completing a high-rise office building, Pellman Electric will tackle any job. And if the power goes out, Pellman offers generator installation services. Visit them at PellmanElectric.com. You depend on electricity, depend on Pellman.
93.7 The Fan is cleared by aquickdrain.com. Now back to the Panther Preview Show. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
It is a game day for the Pitt Panthers, and a very big one as they take on Stanford, the Cardinal, out in Palo Alto, California. Bob Pompiani, Johnny Patricia with you. We hope Doran Dickerson's enjoying time at home with his new baby, JoJo, and we'll look forward to seeing him back here in the future. But I know he's very much going to be tuned into this game today, as everyone will be. And Johnny, I want to ask you first about the timing of this game. It comes after 4 straight wins ahead of Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami. So anytime you talk about potential trap games, this looks like potentially one for them. How do they avoid falling into the trap?
You know, trap game, that's a buzzword in today's football world. People always talk about that, and yes, it is fitting for today, considering their upcoming schedule and after the highs of the past couple weeks with the Mason Heinchel decision and how well that's played out, and especially with a generally younger team that Pitt has now. You know, these guys haven't been in a situation like this. They don't have a veteran, experienced leader at quarterback, so you know they're kind of in uncharted territory right now. But I'm sure you know Mason Heinchel seems to be on the fly, taking it as a leader. You know, and people don't talk about that. When you have a new quarterback, you know that's a new voice in the locker room, a new leader that automatically emerges. You know, and he wasn't really, you know, told about that. Hey, now you got to be the guy giving the pregame speech. Hey, now you got to be the guy, you know, riling these guys up. So, but it seems like he's doing a great job. To avoid a trap game, Pat Narduzzi needs to get on these guys. You need to start fast. You can't let Stanford hang around because, as far as I know, there's probably not going to be many people at the game. You know, Stanford's not flying high this year. They don't have Christian McCaffrey on their roster, or Andrew Luck, Richard Sherman, any of those guys. So you need to, you know, treat them like any other opponent, which is easier said than done. But you need to have your foot on the gas, play clean, no turnovers, obviously, and put the foot on the neck as early as you can. Don't let Stanford have a hope that they could upset them because that could change their season. You know, they're 3-5. They're fighting to get into bowl eligibility. That's still on the horizon for them. That's still a possibility. Frank Reich, their interim head coach, he wants to look well, now in college football. So there's a lot on the line for Stanford as well. Those guys are Division I players. They're on scholarship just like Pitt is.
And you mentioned Frank Reich. Everybody knows his name, and he's with the Colts. It just so happens he's their interim head coach, and Andrew Luck is the general manager out there. And he spent his time, of course, at Stanford. That's a tough assignment because you got to come up with money. You got to do a lot of different things in that role. And then by him, former Pitt players, the offensive coordinator, and Bobby April is their defensive coordinator. A lot of different guys on that team. What about Stanford now? I said they're missing their leading running back. He's not going to play in this game. The quarterback's been kind of so-so. But you're right. Get a lead on them. And try to make them come to you a little bit, which should help Pitt's defense in this game. But what about Stanford? If Pitt's going to have a problem with them, what would it be, do you think?
I think it's Pitt beating themselves. I hate to say throw your hat in the ring and you should win this game. Pitt can't think like that. Obviously, Stanford's quarterback, Gulbranson, I hope I'm not butchering that, 131 of 230 for the year, 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns, averaging a little under 200 yards a game, which is fine. It's nothing that pops off the sheet of paper at you. It's nothing that you're scared about or lose sleep over. But, any team is beatable any given day. We know that. We've seen it with Miami in the ACC, and that's how the ACC is year in and year out. Any team can beat anybody on any given day, and that's why these teams are in such a close race for the championship every year because everybody beats each other. So, you never know. I can't take them lightly, but you got to play how you've been playing the past couple of weeks, and it's not going to be pretty, kind of like the Syracuse game. Not every game is going to be pretty, and I hate to say it, but Pitt does have a tendency to play up and down to their competitors week in and week out. So we just need to be on the right side of things again.
Let me ask you about the start time of this game. It's 3:30 out west, which essentially is something Pitt's used to. They played a lot of noon games, 12:30 games, whatever the case may be. People talk about going from east to west, what it does to your body. They went out there a day early, which is good. Do you think that time, helps Pitt in any way because they're used to playing at that time? And Stanford, I imagine their bodies are already used to it. But what can it do in terms of how you go into this game body-wise?
I think it definitely throws off your routine a little bit. It's a much longer flight than what they're used to, which I think it's more of a factor when a West Coast team comes to the East Coast. Is my math correct on that?
Yes.
Because they're really playing at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, they're losing time. This time you're adding time.
Right. If it's a noon game, they're playing at 9 o'clock their time. So I think it's more of a factor when a West Coast team comes to the East Coast, but it didn't matter last year when Cal played at Pitt. That was a dud, that game. But, UCLA has done it a couple times. So, it's something to talk about. I think it throws off your routine, but that's where, your discipline and veterans come in. Your leaders come in where, you need to stay focused. And I was a routine guy myself, but I'm superstitious. And some guys, it doesn't matter to them. They could roll out of bed and eat an apple and go play. Me, I had to have the same meal, same bedtime, same text messages, same Gatorade flavor every week. So,
wow, I didn't know you were superstitious like that.
Every guy's different.
It's a routine, but it is, everybody has a routine, right?
Everybody has a routine. Some more detailed than others. Some guys like to listen to music that hypes them up. I like to listen to Katy Perry because it just lets me be loose, and if I got too excited, I'd be jittery, and that's when you don't play your best. So I like to be relaxed, I guess. But that's off topic up there.
No, Katy Perry is on topic. What other music?
Something that would make me smile in a good mood.
I would put Dua Lipa in there right now.
Oh, I like Dua Lipa. I could use some Dua Lipa.
I'm hoping she comes to Pittsburgh at some point because I really enjoy her music and just the overall performance level.
That's the best news we got all day. Pump, big Dua Lipa fan.
Love Dua Lipa, yeah. So anyway, let's get back on track here before we go off the rails. Talk about the bye week because, people have different opinions about bye weeks. The Steelers had one early this season. A lot of people thought it was good. Some people thought it was bad. I go back to tonight, the 20-year anniversary of the Super Bowl in Detroit, and the Steelers had a bye week in week 4 that season and had to really come on strong and win all their games out, which they did. So Pitt, to me, this is an ideal bye week. It sets the stage for 3 straight games. You get healthy. You got Notre Dame. You got Georgia Tech. You got Miami. But there are those, and I don't know where you sit in this, who think that's a bad time given the fact that they're playing such really good football at this point.
I can see it both sides. A Originally, I would say it's a bad time for a bye week because they're so hot right now, and they're riding a high. Sometimes, if you're playing well, you don't want a bye week because that can get you out of sync, out of rhythm per se. But because of all the injuries that Pitt has had the past month, you're right. It is a perfect time. These guys are going to rest up and get healthy. They're starters, the usual guys we're talking about. They're going to get healthy and get right back on track for the gauntlet that we talked about with Miami, Notre Dame, and Georgia Tech at the end of the season here. So, yeah, I agree with you, Pomp. It's perfect time for a bye week to get those guys ready for the finale of this season.
All right, now I'm going to put you on the spot, Johnny, to come up with who will be the defensive player of the game today. Who needs to be it for Pitt? It's brought to you by Nick Chevrolet in Tarentum. Before you buy, give Nick's a try.
Give Nick Chevrolet a try. Come in and see my family. Family owned and operated since 1955. I can promise you we will take care of you. We can beat anybody's prices. And if you want to, have that experience where you can trust people, where it's a family, friend environment, you're not going to be treated as a number. NickChevrolet.com. New Chevrolet vehicles and also any make and model on the pre-owned side. And anything we put on that pre-owned lot is all run through the shop, and we are very confident it will run for a long time. So hit me up. We'll take care of you, and we have many people that will do so and give you a great experience. But for the defensive player of the game, Pomp, I'm going to go with Kyle Lewis, a guy who we haven't talked about in a couple weeks for on-field matters. He's been banged up. And he's somebody that will benefit from the bye week as well. So many people might say that they should let him rest one more week, then get to that bye week, and then be fully back. But they're saying he's a game-time decision today. Well, I'm going to let you in on a myth. There are no game-time decisions. If they're talking, if he's on the depth chart, he's playing. When he woke up this morning, he knows if he's playing or not. Game-time decision. There's two big myths in football: game-time decisions and halftime adjustments. There's no such thing as halftime adjustments.
You don't think so?
No. You go into the locker room, you eat a couple oranges, you go to the bathroom, and then the coach says, "Okay, let's go," and you go back outside.
There's no change in.
Very rarely.
You think that's the same at the NFL level?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Wow. I thought there was significant stuff going on there, and I look back at the Steeler game from last week, and I think whatever happened changed the dynamic of the game. They're up by 9. They had to kick off to start the second half, and everything changed radically, especially defensively.
I think you get a rest. You sit down for a couple minutes. You go to the bathroom. You take your pads off, and you put them back on. You eat some food. You might get rolled out or stretch a little bit. But schematically, there's not really any adjustments because you can't change your defense or your offense. I mean, they might say, okay, this is what they're going to do in the second half. They've had success doing this so far. How we're going to combat that is we're going to do X, Y, Z. And then we say, okay, let's go have a good second half, and you go out there and play the second half.
Interesting. And all I know is that it seems like sometimes I've seen these games that go one way for a first half, second. I always assumed there was something going in there. And coaches have kind of limited time, especially in the NFL. There's only like 12 minutes, and you got to be back out there. So I don't know. I understand what you're saying there about schematic changes.
Right.
Although you can call different things.
Right.
You can move guys around if you have to. But
well, also, Pomp, you got to realize that a lot of the coaches are up in the booth anyways during the game. So they got to come down into the locker room, which takes 5 minutes. And then they got to go back up and get ready for the second half. And then you got to go out and stretch for the second half. So there's really not much time to really talk schematics. Maybe for just a minute or two, you get on the whiteboard, but that's about it.
When we come back, we're going to bring you some guaranteed picks brought to you by Voss TV and Appliance. And we're going to state our case here, brought to you by Hampton Beer Outlet. And that case is going to be about the college football playoffs. Their first rankings are coming up this week. We're going to talk about who should be there, who will move up, who may move down. All of that yet to come on Pitt Panther Preview. Bob Pompiani, Johnny Patricia. We're live at Shaler today watching some youth football going on. It's the showcase. It's the Super Bowl for these young people, and they're having a great time doing it. We'll be back with more of our preview of Pitt and Stanford next right here on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
You need parts? O'Reilly has parts. Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Upgrade to Brake Best Select pads for just $10. Or upgrade to Brake Best Select Pro or Import Direct pads for just $20. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
HD1 Pittsburgh, an Odyssey Sports Station. Live from the Jim Shorkey Mitsubishi.com studios, North Huntington and North Hills. Always live and free on the Odyssey app.
93.7, the man.
Pittsburgh has many best, and Pittsburgh's Best Deli is food for thought. It's fresh, authentic, and delicious. For the best fixings for any tailgate, it has to be food for thought. They make their own corned beef. It's by far the best in town. Have it today as a sandwich or order Food for Thought's mouth-watering corned beef Reuben, rated one of Pittsburgh's best. Visit Bob the Deli King, Food for Thought, North Craig Street. Hands down, Pittsburgh's best deli. It's worth the trip.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/life.
The Neophis Insurance Group has proudly partnered with Nationwide Insurance for more than 60 years. The team at the Neophis Insurance Group knows that finding the right protection for you and your family's needs is important. That's why they partnered with Nationwide, offering protection for you, your family, your business, and your future. Call the Neophis Insurance Group at 412-364-3388 for an on-your-side review. That's 412-364-3388 or online at neophisinsurance.com. That's Neofes Insurance.com.
Hi, this is Bill Hillgrove. Life moves fast, but planning ahead doesn't have to be complicated.
Exactly, Bill. That's why NSS Life offers affordable life insurance and reliable annuities you can count on.
It's the peace of mind you've been looking for.
Because you're not just planning for tomorrow, you're building a future that lasts a lifetime.
NSS Life. Secure today, confident tomorrow.
NSS Life, where family matters.
Everyone will tell you how to cook a burger or grill a dog, but no one will tell you the real key to a great tailgate sandwich. It's the bun. Saloni's Italian bread is here to change how you tailgate. A fresh roller bun from Saloni's will be a game changer for any party. Family-owned Saloni's has been serving fresh baked bread to Pittsburgh for over 100 years. Authentic, old-world recipes set Saloni's apart from other breads. Offer Saloni's at your next tailgate. Saloni's Italian bread, based in Crafton, is available at your favorite local grocery store.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
You see him as the host of Fox News Saturday Night with Jimmy Fallon. Now see him live, comedian Jimmy Fallon.
You know, the only upside to all these fat kids is kidnappings are down like 94% right now because you can't get them in the car.
Jimmy Fallon, Everybody Calm Down tour.
Can you imagine being a kidnapper in this day and age? You're like, kid, I got candy, get in the van. And the kid's like, does it contain peanuts?
Is there any high fructose corn syrup in a Mars bar?
Don't miss Jimmy Fallon.
Did you hear? Allstate car insurance now costs even less. So when you bundle with home, you can save even more. Check Allstate first to bundle and save with a new lower auto rate. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings may vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Dan's angrily letting you know that this November, Allegiant Community Federal Credit Union has a deal worth being thankful for. Home equity loan rates as low as 5.5%. Join Allegiant Community Federal Credit Union for just $5. Find out if you're eligible. AllegiantFCU.org.
What's the scariest thing about Halloween? The footsteps upstairs? Don't go up there. The face in the window? Who's out there? Or not having enough wine for your guests? This month, Fine Wine and Good Spirits has great prices on some wickedly good reds, like the devilishly smooth Casillero del Diablo Malbec, or a hauntingly good glass of Ghost Pines Cabernet. Both bottles are $2 off. Shop in-store or online at fwgs.com. Offers end November 2nd, 2025. Please enter responsibly.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Confused on where to start with weight loss medication? 95% of LifeMD patients said starting their weight loss journey was simple. Go to trylifemd.com now and see the best options with or without insurance for Wegovy, Zepbound, and more. Brian was approved for insurance coverage and lost 100 pounds.
I love the fact that insurance covered almost everything because pharmaceutical prices are going through the roof. The first time I realized that LifeMD was working for me was when the hunger started going away. I never thought losing weight would be this easy. It's given me more energy. I would recommend LifeMD to anybody.
Nearly 96% of patients said they would recommend the LifeMD program to anyone who wants to lose weight. Get started right now at trylifemd.com. That's TRYLIFEMD.com.
Text us on the Edgar Snyder and Associates text line at 412-928-9370. Edgar Snyder and Associates reminds you to text responsibly. Now, fan headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
All right, Joel Nelson for fan headlines. Pitt football today. They are at Stanford at 3:30. That game being played in Palo Alto. Pitt Radio Network takes over at 1:30. Penguins are in action today. They take on Winnipeg at 3. For more, go to 937thefan.com. Fan headlines are powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Now back to the Panther Preview Show. Sports Radio 93.7, The Fan.
It is a game day in Palo Alto, California. Pitt and Stanford today. Pitt is a healthy 13.5-point favorite in this game, and if they win it, they will control their destiny to the ACC championship. They got a bye week, then Notre Dame, which won't be a conference game, and then at Georgia Tech, Miami. If they win today in those two last games, they'll be an ideal situation. Bob Pompiani, and we have the two-time All-ACC and two-time Player of the Week in the ACC, Johnny Patricia, with us here as we continue to break down this game and also things surrounding this game. And it was interesting this week because the NCAA, it's funny how this came out on the heels of the NBA gambling issue that they have with the Mafia. You couldn't even look at this and say, is this real? Yeah. Chauncey Billups, the head coach, and then you have Terry Rozier down in Miami throwing games essentially to make more money. And my question is, if you're making $26.5 million a year like Terry Rozier, what are you doing involved with any of this? How much money do you need? Anyway, as that was going on, the NCAA made an announcement, a decision to allow coaches and student athletes to gamble on pro sports. Pat Narduzzi was asked about this week at his press conference, and I'm going to quote some of the stuff. His quote is, they don't ask the coaches. I think it's absolutely one of the stupidest decisions I've ever seen. First of all, it's a habit. It's no different than smoking, drinking, and doing drugs. It's a bad habit. I don't think anyone here encourages their guys to go out drinking and get smashed on Friday or Saturday night at a ball game. It's a disease. And he came on strong. Same day that this comes out, there's a disease in the NBA, and now they're allowing this. So he went off, doesn't like it at all, Johnny. That's our Saloni's on a Roll, brought to you by Saloni's Italian Bakery. They give you rolls better than anyone, and so He went on a roll. Do you agree with the roll?
He went on more than one roll. That was a couple rolls. That's definitely going off on a rant there. He's definitely passionate about it, and that's Pat Narduzzi to a T. He's very passionate about many topics. Clearly, he doesn't like that one, and I got to agree with him. I think it is. Obviously, there's just going to be problems with that in the future. But let's also be honest. I don't want to be the snitch, if you will, but it's happening already. It's happened before. It was just not legal. People are going to find ways to do it no matter what. Not encouraging it, obviously. I don't think it's smart to gamble. But now, clearly, they're allowing it. Before, people were just placing bets in other people's names so they didn't get caught. But now, I guess they can do it in their own names. So I can't imagine that's going to be a problem with all the money that these people are making off NIL, and now they're going to gamble as well. So, I think that's a recipe for disaster. I can't believe how far we've come, Pomp.
No,
it seems
in a short
like
period of time.
Pre-COVID, it was just the NCAA was a different world. Everything has changed, and even after that, 2021, none of this stuff was allowed. It's just in 3 years. It's a whole different world. So what's going on there? I don't know.
No, I yearn for the days of cash exchanges, little duffel bags of money being given to athletes. You didn't really know about it, but you thought so. But it did. Now it's, and I agree. I think with Pat Narduzzi and you, I think it's too much for young kids too, especially if you start allowing this stuff. It can get the best of you. If you make a lot of money in gambling, my experience is you think you can make even more. Instead of stopping, you double down and do more, and then you're down, and then you try to dig out. It's just a terrible thing. But anyway, that's one of the issues that was brought up at Pat Narduzzi's press conference today. Now let's take a look around and provide you with some guaranteed picks, at least guaranteed from what we think. It could be wrong. Brought to you by Voss TV and Appliance, family-owned for over 60 years, and the lowest prices in town, guaranteed. They guarantee it. I'm not going to guarantee my picks, but I will say Penn State and Ohio State, this is a game that at the beginning of the season everyone had circled, right? It was going to be, that's for the Big Ten championship perhaps. That's going to be a game that James Franklin had to win. Well, ever since this is fallen apart, they've lost 4 in a row. They're 0-4 in the Big Ten. Ohio State, number 1 ranked, and they jumped out to a 10-0 lead. It's now 10-7. Penn State has scored on a Nick Singleton touchdown run. Is there any way Penn State wins this game today?
I have a weird feeling about this. Terry Smith got those guys believing, and I think with all the national media attention that Penn State has gotten, negative attention specifically, just with firing Franklin, with falling off the cliff in the rankings, I think these guys they can either go one of two ways. And they tank and they fall off the cliff. Guys start playing for, as individuals, and they don't care about the success of the team. Or they come together and they say, hey, let's make something of this year and make, the best out of what we can, save what's salvaged. And so I think they could compete with them. I was a little worried, Pomp, when they go down 10-0. I say, okay, they're just going to roll over and this is going to be a rout. But they're not giving up yet. 10-7, and man, would that throw a kink into things in the rankings, because Ohio State really, I know they're undefeated, but they haven't really beaten anybody yet. I know they beat Texas, who was a high-ranked team at the week 1, but, looking back, that's not really a big victory. So I think this race is still wide open nationally. There's no teams that I think anybody is thinking is a sure lock for, a playoff favorite, if you will. So, everybody's beatable. And I hope it's a good game, because a month ago, everybody was circling this game on the schedule as, wow, I got to be free this Saturday afternoon to watch this game. And in the past couple of years, it's always been a good game. I remember when I was at Penn State, we lost to Ohio State by 1 point 3 years in a row. So, maybe this is another one of those classics.
Penn State has lost 9 of the last 10 against Ohio State. And again, most people expect that to be 10 out of 11, but they're making it a game at least early on. Speaking of these rankings, we're going to see for the first time the college playoff rankings come out this week. And that's always a little different than what we see from the Associated Press, the national polls, or the USA Today coaches poll. But right now, Ohio State's 1, Indiana 2. 2 teams at the very top of the Big Ten are also top of national rankings. Texas A&M is a team coming on. They just got Brian Kelly fired down there in LSU after they put a licking on them down there. Alabama has moved up after that first thought. It's funny how it works. Kalen DeBoer, how quickly things can change. People wanted him. They lost to Florida State after last year. People wanted him out already. And now he's just silenced them by winning 7 in a row. So they're up there. And you have Georgia, Oregon, other teams. Which of these teams do you think at the end Ohio State would have to be my pick, but Indiana is another team that is legit, and they have doubled down on what they've done with Kurt Cignetti, their entire NIL program. They put a lot of money into it, and it's starting to show. They're 8-0.
Indiana is legit, and it's exciting to see one of the teams in the top that's not usually there. Like Indiana, they're known as a basketball school, let's be honest, and it's cool to see, just somebody that's not Ohio State, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, one of the usuals is always at the top. Look at Vanderbilt, in the top 10, which is awesome. And I, to be honest, I think most of us thought this with the NIL landscape, that the rich would get richer. It would just be Alabama, Georgia, the top dogs every year. But it's cool seeing some parity in there, Pomp. Now, do I think any of those teams have a legit shot? I don't think we live in a world where we see Vanderbilt win a national championship. But
you never know in 12 teams.
You never know in 12 teams, and it gives us the March Madness feel, which is awesome. I wish this playoff thing was around for a long time. But we're just getting into it now, and I love it. I think everybody loves it, and everybody's making more money. So why not do it? I guess. But I think Ohio State, Indiana. I like seeing 2 Big Ten teams at the top because we live in a world where most people think the SEC dominates everybody, and that's just not the truth. So that's my take on it, Pomp. I'd like to see somebody different win.
Well, we'll have that opportunity perhaps this year. We'll see how this breaks down. Some other games going on right now just to get you up in date. West Virginia, surprising number 22 Houston, 21-7. Ohio State, by the way, has just scored, so they're 17-7. That's going to be stopping. I'll tell you, Julian's saying at a quarterback, he is saying that I'm a Heisman winner here. Let's go. A lot of people, they lost their quarterback, but he's been dynamic for them. Anyway, West Virginia surprising Houston at this point, 21-7. Cougars are ranked 22nd. Duke leading Clemson. What has happened to Dabo Swinney's team at Clemson?
Pomp, he's not with the NIL landscape. And I get it. You feel indifferent about it. You didn't want to get on board, but the train's leaving without you, And, he always had the policy he doesn't take transfers. Well, you're just going to get left behind in today's world because everybody else is doing it, and it's an advantage. Recruiting without the big NIL commitments is, it's silly. It's just you're not going to be productive. You're not going to win games, which is sad, but, that's the world we live in now. So he's going to have to change his opinion on the NIL and transfer world because this college football playoff is going to leave without him if he doesn't.
Miami right now over SMU, and SMU has been a very good team in the ACC. They won like 20 conference games in a row, but Miami's trying to end that. They lead 7-0. We have an interesting game coming up involving a team that beat Pitt this year in a really costly loss for the Panthers. They led by 17 points, and they lose to Louisville, but now it's Louisville 8.5-point favorites at Virginia Tech. And that's a team rumored to be in James Franklin. They're looking for a head coach, and he may be that guy. So we'll find out how that goes. Your take on Louisville, because Louisville's one of those teams that Pitt's going to have to deal with here, and if it ever comes down to where tiebreakers are involved, they won head-to-head.
Yeah, that's a game that we look back on as a Pitt fan, Pitt supporter, that got away from us. We lost that game. Louisville didn't win it. 17-point lead, 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Hindsight 2020. Everybody's saying, well, if Mason Heinschel was starting the whole year, they'd be undefeated. Yeah, Pompin, if you were 6'4" and ran a 4.40, you'd be in the NFL right now, But that's not the case.
Or I hit the golf ball a lot further with a bigger trajectory and backswing, yes.
You're right. Also, I think what you're doing is you're the best at what you do anyway. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's Oh, I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about?
Louisville.
Gosh,
there's a lot of activity. We have to explain. We're in the middle of footballs being thrown all over the place here at this youth football showcase.
The wind's blowing.
These young kids are running all over the place with a lot of energy.
The wind's blowing. The tarp's falling down. We're hanging on to our papers for dear life. But Louisville, oh, man, my short-term memory. Louisville, yeah, that's the game that got away for Pitt, and that's going to be the thorn in their side going forward. But then again, they still are 4-1 in the ACC. I don't expect a perfect season, and you could still get to the playoffs losing 2 games. The key is you got to get to the ACC championship game, and and take care of business, but they control their own destiny, like we said earlier. But Louisville's a good team. It's not like they lost to,
And Brian Brom's one of those coaches who a lot of people will come after at some point.
Yeah. He's a good coach.
Yeah, Penn State, who knows?
They got a good quarterback, and Louisville has had Pitt's number, recently. So we knew that was going to be a tough game. Louisville, they actually take a lot of pride in their NIL department, and it's paid off for them.
State Your Case is brought to you by Hampton Beer Outlet. Tailgates are better with beer from Hampton Beer Outlet, Route 8 in Hampton. The largest selection and the best prices, so drive a little, save a lot at Hampton Beer Outlet. All right, Johnny, it's time to state our case here. Pitt comes into this as a 13.5-point favorite over a Stanford team that's coming off a 42-7 loss to Miami. Pitt is on a roll, winners of 4 straight ever since they inserted Mason Heinchel into the quarterback starting lineup. 48-7 over BC, 34-31, a big win on the road at Florida State. At Syracuse, they won by 17, and they blew out NC State. What happens today against a Cardinal team that could throw a real wrench into the Pitt next several weeks? Pitt is favored to win. Pitt should win. Will they win?
Pitt will win. They will win. In the past couple of weeks, Pomp, I've picked to win every game, but I said they wouldn't cover. And they have covered most of their games as of late, I believe. You correct me if I'm wrong, Pomp. They've covered every single one, I think.
Scored a lot of points.
Yeah, scored a lot of points. Right. And but 13.5 points is a lot. But I'm going to say they cover this week. I learned my lesson the past couple of weeks by going against them in that department. The weather's going to be nice out there, I would think, in Palo Alto, California. And I think Stanford, they got an interim coach. The sky's falling out there. They're trying to regroup and figure out what their future's like. I think Pitt's on a roll right now. Bye week next week. I think they hit the ground running today, and they get healthier next week and finish out this stretch in November on a high note. I think bye week comes at a great time like we spoke about, but I think they take care of business today in Stanford and win handily.
So Mason Heinchel has captured everybody by storm to the point where Johnny pointed out CBS came out with their power rankings for quarterbacks, and he's number 1 on that list right now, which is only 4 games. It's a very short sample size. But I think he's shown people a lot. He's got the poise for this. He's got the aptitude for it, and he doesn't seem to be bothered when things go well. In fact, he responds to that adversity. What is his ceiling, do you think, especially with teams knowing what he is now? They're going to get more tape on him. Notre Dame's coming in here. That's going to be a tough defensive game for them. Georgia Tech, all 3 of the toughest teams are going to face coming up, but Heinchel will have 5 games under his belt.
Yeah, sophomore slump is a thing. Thinking about into next year, there is, proof that once teams get more film on you, they get better ideas and strategies against you, and it slows you down. That is a true thing. But I think with Mason Heinchel, he brings to the field an aspect that you can't prepare for, and that is his ability to extend the play and keep his eyes downfield and either run or throw the ball. And that's something you can't prepare for on film. You could say, a pocket passer who throws off rhythm and timing. Okay, we can do X, Y, Z to slow this guy down. We can run this coverage. We can do this stunt to get this guy out of his rhythm, out of their scheme and patterns. But with Mason Heinchel, a lot of his best plays are unscripted, things that are, offbeat, unpredicted, things that aren't drawn up in the huddle. Okay, they run this blitz. He recognizes it. He calls the right protection. He scrambles this way, breaks a tackle, and then throws to an open receiver. Kind of like the you draw this route up in the sand and you go. So I think that's what brings him, his best attribute.
Fan weather is brought to you by Myers Law Group, Pittsburgh's choice for affordable legal solutions. Today it's partly sunny around here. The wind's kicking up, if you could tell by our microphones. Temperatures in the 50s. In Stanford, on the other hand, sunny skies. Temperatures will be in the 70s. And coming up at the bottom of the hour here shortly, it's going to be the Pitt Panther Preview Show, hosted by Larry Richard, Pat Bostic, Jeff Hathorn. Are we doing the play-by-play today? It's Pitt and Stanford, 3:30 right here on the Fan. Pitt, again, is a 13.5-point favorite, looking at a win and then a bye week before they get ready for the final 3 games of this season. All of them huge, big games for the Panthers as they look for an ACC championship opportunity. For Johnny Patrician, thank you, Johnny. Appreciate the expertise as always. I'm Bob Pompiani, Seth Davis, our entire group up here, and Joel Nelson back at the studio. We are signing off, getting ready for a big day of Pitt football right here on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Now, Fan Headlines, powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
You can catch Pitt and Stanford on the free Odyssey app. Kickoff at 3:30. Penguins in action today at 3 o'clock. taking on Winnipeg. For more, go to 937thefan.com. Fan headlines are powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan, built by Window Nation, home of the buy two, get two